Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run over me.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis, so welcome back to Be My Guest. And today we have back with us Rod Lee, very well known in our area, Worcester County, Blackstone Valley. He's been a journalist, for many different, we're going to talk about this, the newspapers. He's very much the entrepreneur. And those of you know him know that he is fantastic at what he does. He is absolutely determined. And he has written another book called Gill, Christopher. Rod, did you do the cover?
I didn't do the cover. That was shopped out.
Okay, so you let them do it for you.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah. I came up with the concept.
Yeah. I like it. I very much like. Now, all right, now this, I think, is about maybe you?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I want to make sure that we do that. I am a slow reader.
I am too.
Oh my God. Because I have a pile. And I'm
I do
like,
too.
oh, I gotta read this.
I do too.
You ever try to get out of bed over the pile? Oh. But this, I said, you know what? It's time for me to get busy. Start reading this book, so I'll be prepared. So I have to allow myself 2 or 3 weeks. Okay. I read it in one night. It got me right from the beginning. You have a simple, enchanting style. You don't want to put it down. It's just so doggone down to earth. That's Rod. And he is also the founder and the CEO of The Rambler, which is an online journal. And I have a column in it, but it's an online journal. And you do human interest stories around the area.
I do. I try.
Yeah. How do you find all your people?
It's just things that interest me that I come across. It could be most anything. It could be business. It could be art, education.
Yep.
Whatever catches my eye that everybody else isn't bothering with mostly.
Yeah.
Because I put the Rambler out once a month, so I only have that opportunity every 30 days. So I like to come up with some good material.
Amazing. Is this the most favorite? You used to do the Northbridge Times, right? Is this the most favorite you've ever done?
This has been very satisfying to me because it's my own thing.
Yeah.
And it's my own material, my own audience that I'm writing for. And you're involved. I have columnists, so that's great. Yeah.
You also, let me see. You also add your columns to is it the BBT, Backsilver Express?
So I'm all done with that.
You are? Okay.
As of July, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I stepped away from that as editor to concentrate on home, family, and the Rambler and all my writing
Oh my
that
God.
I want to do.
You've been. I remember back when I moved to Whitensville in 1988. What were you involved in? Was
The
it
Tribune.
The Tribune. Is
Yes.
that's not still?
No, it's still around.
It's still.
Still around, yes.
Is it every month?
It's weekly.
So in other words, for those of us out here in Upton, we have got to go down to the main building to get it.
Right. Well, it's out of Southbridge now. They don't have a Whitensville office per se.
Okay.
But it's out of Southbridge with some other publications that they own, Stonebridge Press. So no, the Tribune is still, it's a broadsheet, it's still in existence, it's every Friday.
Yep.
Mostly advertising, but
Where do you pick it up?
it's mailed.
Oh, okay,
It's
it's the
mailed
mail
free.
one. Okay, I think
Yeah.
we used to pick it up for free, didn't
It's
we?
like the Uxbridge Times, it's mailed free. And it's dropped, I think, some places too, like
Okay.
the local post
All right.
office.
Yeah, I know, it's hard for me to keep up with the Blackstone Valley Express. You go to Shaw's, like, looking like, is it there yet?
I know.
I could find a lot of guests from there. A lot of wonderful people in the area.
Right.
But it's like, I think it's going to go every first or second Friday of the month.
Right.
I think you missed one, but
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
the second and fourth Friday.
All right, so we are talking about Rod's new novel. He's written a number of books. Gill, Christopher, and I love that name. Where'd you come up with that?
Just came out of, I like Jan using first names as first and last.
Yeah.
It's just something that appeals to me.
This fellow is so doggone believable, of course. He's basically Rod, our buddy Rod. All right, the first chapter, I was giggling. What is it with the magnolia cones with you? What the heck?
The whole idea for the book stemmed from the problems that you start to deal with when you get older.
Okay.
And a lot of it has to do with maintaining the home, which is 35 years old,
Yep.
and starting to deteriorate, needing upkeeping.
You're in Littlewood.
I'm in Linwood.
Yeah.
I've been there for 35 years. We've
Yeah.
been there. And just the little annoyances, as I said last week at my book signing, in the 4th chapter of Ecclesiastes, they refer to it as oppressions
Yeah.
or travails, that you face. So the magnolia cones were just one manifestation of this. Acorns,
Yeah.
missing hubcap,
Yes.
furnace on the fritz, just all that kind of stuff. So it's about growing old, but how you're less and less equipped to deal with these things financially and physically and in a whole bunch of other ways.
Yeah.
But the book is about much more than growing old.
Oh,
too,
God.
you know.
And now, your friend, was it Buzzy there in the hubcap? Oh, you were worried that he would take offense that you weren't going to go along with it. He found you a hubcap, but it just
He
didn't
lives
fit.
in Upton.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so, but he found you a hubcap, and it didn't fit.
Well, we went through 3, 4, 5 hubcaps that didn't fit. And this is typical of the kind of things that I'm talking about in the book.
So, all right, so Gill went, should we say you or Gill?
Gill.
Gill is Rod. Gill, okay.
People are calling me Gill now.
All right,
so.
yeah, you went to Ithaca College, and
No. My friend,
your friend Bill Thayer,
he went to Ithaca.
and then Gill went to Fredonia State.
Right.
Where is that?
It's way upstate,
New York.
western New York, up in the Buffalo, up in that area.
Is it near Bard?
Not that I know of.
Because Bard College,
Bard College, where is that?
that's in upper New York State. And when I was going to the school counselor at my high school, we were trying to prepare with my parents where she might go.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, and the counselor said, "How about Bard?" Because it's an artsy, funky kind of. My father said no, because it had a pretty bad reputation of being too far out there.
Okay.
So I don't know. I think my brother applied there or something, but he just went to visit it. But funny, this counselor said, "Well, you sent your son there." Dad said, and the guy goes, "Yeah, you have a double standard." Dad said, "You bet." So I guess yeah. Alrighty, so now, I've got so many earmarks here, I love this thing. Moved from his job as sports editor of the Press Republican. Now, where was the Press Republican? Plattsburgh, New York.
Yes. Which is like the North Country off of the Northway, going up from Albany.
Yeah.
Just this side of the Canadian border, just this side of Montreal.
And you were living up there.
Oh, yes, our oldest daughter was born there.
What made you move down here?
So that's a long story, but I began my career in Binghamton, New York, went to Plattsburgh, came back to Binghamton briefly, went to Newburgh, and then came back to Binghamton again for the evening paper, not the morning paper. And then the job in Brookline opened up, and we came to Massachusetts. That was 1985.
And then you went to the Worcester T&G. When?
Yes, T&G, 1998 until I retired in 2009.
You were the one of the head journalists there.
Well, I wrote business stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote business stories.
Did you like it, the T&G?
I loved it. I had a good role there.
I bet you they hated to see you go.
Well, at that point they were laying people off.
They were?
Oh yeah, they were downsizing.
So you sort of beat them to it, like, okay, you don't have to lay me
Right.
off.
It was time to get out.
Okay, yeah. Here we are with Buzzy in the hubcap. God, I thought that was... Now, there's another one here. All right, okay. Gill had never suffered from writer's block. As a journalist, he knew that once he got the first sentence down, he was all set. The rest of the story flowed from there. Those opening words were crucial to where it went from there. Don't get them right, and you are in trouble. That is so true.
It's true.
Did you learn it in college or on your own?
No, I learned it from good people that I worked under.
Yeah.
The lead is so important. How you start out the story, and it's the same with fiction, nonfiction, as it is with newspaper reporting.
Yeah.
You know, they call it the hook, as you probably know.
Yeah.
You hook people to get them in, and you go from there.
You got to think of the hook. Let's say if there's 100 things going around your head.
Right.
Which one? And then it's like you sit down and start writing, and then oops, I got it. And
Right.
Are you a fast typist?
I can type very fast, but my thought process is not, doesn't keep up with how fast I type sometimes.
Yeah. We're talking with Rod Lee, actually the person of who is Gill Christopher. Rod, how can they get a copy of your book?
So you can order the book from Barnes & Noble online. You can order it direct from me and pay by cash, check, or Venmo now. I'm using Venmo. I know a lot of people are using that. So my Venmo address is at Rodlee-Tigers. That's how they could order it by Venmo, which my grandchildren love that. They all use that for everything.
Yeah.
So
you've been appearing at where else?
I've been to the so I had a book signing last week in Webster at Book Lovers Gourmet, which you're familiar with. I've been to the Dull Men's Club, which is a new group in Northbridge at the Senior Center.
Yes.
And I've made 2 appearances there. The second one was this morning.
Yeah.
I have an appearance at the Northbridge Senior Center in September.
Good.
And I've been asked to go to Northborough to speak to a group out there.
I interviewed them. The first group of guys that I heard, the Dull Men's Club, was in Southborough.
Right, they're a big group.
Yeah, and I had them on years ago.
Oh, okay.
And that's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, there's like 30 members to that group. They're one of the bigger ones.
I think they told me that because the ladies had their group, their chit-chat groups, the guys decided, well, what would we call ourselves? I guess dull. They were anything but dull.
Right.
What do they talk about?
Most anything.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Today they were talking about truck driving because several of them drove long haul trucks across the road.
Yeah.
So that was the discussion. It could be anything.
One thing I love about, many things I love about this book, Gill Christopher, you have your deceased friends' pictures. And to honor them, Frances Angeline, Chris Liazos.
He owned the Webster House restaurant.
Oh, you used to love to go there. I think you used to tell me.
Absolutely.
Down off of Southbridge Street area.
Yeah.
That's a ways, yeah.
Yeah, it's in the Cambridge Street, Stafford Street.
Cambridge Street.
Yeah.
And we have, let me see, we have those 2, but there was two more. Oh, yes. Dick Brozite.
Yeah.
He was kind of young when he passed.
He was, and he worked with me at the Telegram.
Oh. And Jim Finnegan, he looks like a professional. Was he?
He was a photographer.
Okay.
Also died fairly young.
Yeah, when they're born in the 40s like that, that's really...
Yeah, so those were 4 people who had kind of like a major influence on my life, who became friends, took care of me, in different ways.
Like mentors.
Yeah.
And then who? Now, there's no name. Who is this fellow?
That's the second picture of Chris. That's Chris Liazos, but that's another picture of him.
Okay, I'm looking at the features, yeah.
The book is officially dedicated to him.
When you look at the features, I was trying to do that, and I thought, it does look receptive. Yeah, okay. And then we have a great picture of Rodlee himself sitting right at the Plumber's Quarter land, and you can't see it, but in 2023. Was that in fall or winter? Or when did you take that?
It was late summer, fall.
This year?
Yeah, this past year, yeah.
See, that picture, I don't know. Now, take us briefly through, this is really cool because what he did, which is I love, he named the chapters. All right, so we've gone through the magnolia cones. Slow decay, the home.
Which is kind of like a continuation. That's where I bring the magnolia cone into my office, put it on the desk. It's green, very vibrant colored, and I watch it for a couple of weeks as it slowly turns black and disintegrates, and then I'm thinking, well, doesn't that happen to all of us? I throw it in the trash and I say good riddance.
How happy! I mean, oh my God. Oh, okay, alrighty. Riding the waves.
So I used to boogie board
Yeah.
at Hampton Beach every summer.
Yeah.
And my wife got very upset because, I'm getting older. And I was out there frolicking with the kids.
Yeah.
And I finally gave it up.
You had a goof, right? A little bit of a goof.
Yeah. I got kind of sucked under and a little bit of thing with the boogie board. So that was officially my retirement from boogie boarding. And this is all to bring into context how aging, things drop away. You can't do what you used to do.
But what if you start doing things you didn't do before?
You know,
That's the
and
fun part.
That's something we talk about at the Dell Men's Club.
Yeah.
A couple of the guys said, well, I can't do what I used to do, and
But you can.
try something different.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
Build birdhouses.
There's a saying I love, we don't age, we youthen. I love that. Now you have the acoustic guitar.
So I bought an acoustic guitar at an antique store in Whitensville on Church Street, $35. And I like to tell people this story because I love music. I've always wanted to play the guitar and sing, although my wife tells me don't do that. So it's a 6-string acoustic guitar. I brought it up to the counter. I paid for it $35. And I said to the woman, I think I have a little bit of Neil Young in me.
Uh-oh.
And she says, oh, good, you can have your first concert here. And it's in there.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah.
People don't know that. Oh my God.
No.
What year was this?
This was like 3-4 years ago.
Why
But
didn't I know about it? I didn't see it advertised.
It didn't stay in business very long.
Was
It's
it
gone.
the lantern?
That I write about.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
he's gone too. He was in business for like 25 years.
Dollar
But-
Tree days. Don't you love that? You guys
Oh.
all show up over there, right? You meet
Right,
up over at the
right.
Dollar Tree?
So initially, yeah, the Dollar Tree for our morning paper for $1. And there were initially like 8, 9, 10 of us, and you'd have to get in line early when they open at 8 o'clock to get your newspaper.
Oh.
Then they started dropping away because people don't read the newspaper anymore. So
I do.
yeah, so Buzzy and I and Pablo are basically the last 3 that still come every morning. A couple of cute stories there. I think you'll remember. One day we were, and there was this guy who was kind of the ringleader of the group. His name is Butch, but I call him Pip.
Yep.
And we're standing there, and mostly women working in the Dollar Tree at that time.
Yeah.
And this man walks by on his way to Shaw's. We had no idea who he was. And Butch says to him, we're here for the free sex. And I thought for a minute, and I thought, wait. I said, it's not free, it's $1. And Butch says, that's good, that's very good.
What the guy say? That walked by, did he?
He just laughed. Yeah.
Oh my God! Did your wife know about this?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was getting ready. Oh
And
my
we
God.
all thought of names for each other. You know, and
Yeah.
so everybody, depending on what kind of personality they had or
Yeah.
what kind of little quirk with, you know, there was Cuckoo, who was an older guy from Uxbridge, and why he was named Cuckoo, I don't know. There was Pablo, who they called Creeping Jesus because of the way he kind of shuffled across the parking lot. It was just, it went on and on. We kept making up names for each other.
What was yours?
And wait a minute. And Butch was the ringleader. He kept thinking of these, and it was mostly ridiculing people, you know, which I kind of resented. And so Steve, who was waiting for a hip operation, became Step and a Half.
Step and a half?
Step and a Half, and Butch would yell at him, you know, as he's trying to labor his way up to this door.
Yeah.
Butch would say, come on, get a move on there, Step and a Half. So I was thinking, and I finally thought, well, I got a nickname for you, Butch. I'm going to call you Third of a Brain.
Ooh, good.
And his fist balled up. He says, what do you mean, Third of a Brain?
Did he take you seriously?
No.
No.
And I mentioned in there, too,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I never got a nickname, even though Scoop would have been as a newspaper man, Scoop would have been the appropriate nickname. But no,
Definitely.
I never picked up a nickname.
Yeah, even if I've read it, I want to have he explain it to you anyways, because, you know, you haven't read it yet. Okay.
So we had a good time, though.
You had a really good... You guys are still meeting it there?
Yeah, there's
At
3.
8 in the morning?
Yeah.
You're an early bird.
Yeah, and it's the only time you can, you know, you can subscribe to the paper, but no one does that anymore. You can read it online. We just choose to go and buy it for $1.25.
I love it. Like Sunday papers
Yeah.
was a tradition with my father.
Sure.
He had everything with the New York Times, the Boston Globe. He had
Yeah.
everything. Sunday was on TV, Meet the Press.
Yep.
And you shut up. You did not interfere when he and Mom were watching, you know, doing that.
Right.
He took it very seriously, and I grew into that too.
Right.
Now, let me see. Pests and saboteurs, a career threatened.
So some people that I've run into along the way who kind of like had a different perspective on things than I did, and maybe put a little hurdle in front of me, that type of thing. Nothing major, nothing that actually trying to sabotage me or anything like that, but just people I've run into some resistance with.
Time swallows everything.
Yeah, that's kind of alluding to the 4 friends that I've lost, but everything else too, you know. I mean, everything goes by the boards eventually.
The pilgrimage.
So I went back to Endicott, my hometown, in 2014 for a 10th anniversary signing of Shoetown, which is my book about, my memoir about growing up in Endicott.
Yeah.
So that was nice. I went back, and the coach was there that day.
Yeah.
So that was fun to go, and I really haven't been back to Endicott too much since then.
And your coach was there.
Yeah.
This reminds me of the class reunion I had recently. I was floored because my biology teacher was there and the driver's ed teacher was there.
Really?
They must have been maybe just in their 20s and 30s when I was a kid. They
Wow.
were, I mean, how did they make it
I know.
perfectly lucid?
Right.
And I'm like, you've got to be kidding. My husband went with me, and we're all, yeah, I've kidded him many times. I'm like, you ready to sit in a room full of baby boomers? Because he's like way ahead of us. And I'm like, I thought, oh, this ought to be interesting. But he looked just like everybody else. They didn't know. But it was interesting to see those two guys there. I'm like, you
Yeah.
gotta be kidding. Now, a night in the ballroom.
Oh, that was a funny one. So my granddaughter, Caitlin, when we were in Hampton Beach last year, she asked me if I wanted to accompany several of them to a Kip Moore concert at Hampton Beach Casino.
Yeah.
And they're all, of course, in their 30s, late 20s, early 30s. There were 5 of them and myself. And I said, okay, I don't know Kip Moore, but I'll go. And I'd been to the Hampton Beach Casino. I love it. Saw the Beach Boys there. So I went, and Kip Moore, there was a warm-up act, and we were waiting for Kip Moore to come out, and this woman off to my left comes out of nowhere, and she takes this broad-brimmed hat that I had on me, and she just snatched it off my head and put it on her head.
Yeah.
I had no idea who she was.
And she just walked away.
Well, I said to her, I was so startled, I didn't know what to say. And I said, you can have it for $50. And she said, no thanks, and she kissed me on the cheek. Meanwhile, Caitlin and the others were recording this on their phones. And I said to Caitlin, this does not go public, these pictures. And she said, don't worry, Pop, they won't.
Did your wife see it?
Oh, yeah.
She probably got a
mean,
big chuckle out of that.
It eventually made its way around. I'll show you the picture when we're done. It eventually made its way through the family. It's quite a hilarious picture.
I know, but tell them, did you get the hat back?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Did you have to fight for it?
No.
She was nice.
No, she was nice.
Letters
She-
from Pat.
So that's the coach's wife.
Yeah.
And after I wrote Shoetown, she started writing to me. I didn't know her personally. I knew him. But she just kept writing me letters about, how much she liked Shoetown and memories of Endicott growing up, swimming in the big pool. She was a cheerleader and coach of the cheerleading team, and very accomplished person in her own right as a cook and an artist. But you never heard much about her. It was all about the coach. So it was very nice to get letters. And those I had never shared with anyone before.
Yeah.
I wrote this book.
Yeah. Rod, again, how can they get a hold of you?
My email, of course, is always a good way, rodlee.1963 at Gmail. They can check my website, rodlee.com. And, of course, they can go to Barnes & Noble and order the book. It's $12.99.
Okay.
Go to Barnes & Noble. It pops right up.
Is it a Tatnuck?
No, not yet.
Get over there. Get over here for sure. You can give a presentation, over there, the big room. Oh, God, I love it over there.
I would love to do that.
He's been at the Book Lovers Gourmet.
Yeah.
You were there last Saturday.
Yeah.
What's coming up?
So I have the ones I mentioned, the event in September. It's been a gradual thing with me. I'm doing most of the marketing of the book myself
Yeah.
at my end.
Sure.
And I had, the nice thing is I had an initial print run of 200 copies and I've only got like 12 copies left.
Wow.
So they've gone very quick. I'll probably have to order more copies.
I always tell my authors when I'm sending them out to different places, I'll say, we're going to hit the senior centers, and some of them will say to me, why? It's because they have kids, they have families, they read.
Right.
I had a new author on here years ago, and she wrote a pretty much general book about her struggle upbringing, and I sent her over to the Mendon Senior Center. Within an hour, she sold 10 books.
Yeah.
I said, see?
Yeah.
Especially children's authors, too.
Right.
I said, they have grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Why
Right.
would you not go there,
Yeah.
Oh, no.
But I tell people, Jan, that this is really not just a book about growing old. It's also a book about relationships that I've forged over the years, and also a book about aspirations, because the end of the book is all about me wanting to become a better writer,
Yep.
going to Paris and trying to find the spark, as I put it, to write a great novel.
When you went to Paris, did you go solo or?
No, I did go. It's fiction.
I
It's
thought you went. Oh, okay.
no, I haven't been. That may be as close as I get to Paris.
Oh,
Is
my
just the book, creating the character and
Yeah.
and deciding to end it that way, because of all the writers I admire, the lost generation people who spent all those time in the 1920s and 1930s in Paris.
Yeah.
Fitzgerald and Hemingway and Faulkner and Joseph Conrad.
What do your families think about your books?
They love it. They love
Of
it.
course. Are your mom and dad still with you?
No.
They're not. So
no.
okay.
They died in 2000 and 2006.
About the same time mine went too. This is fantastic. I'm telling
Mm-hmm. Thank
you.
you, Jan.
This, you can read this. If I can read this in 2 hours, you can read it. And I'm one of those people that not only just kind of a pokey one, and I'll go back, did I get that right? But, sometimes I'm like drifting off as to what's going to happen the next day, and I'm like, no, Jan, right back, with adult ADD or something like that. Like, let's focus. But this, I didn't have trouble focusing on this. I love whatever they did with the covers and the back covers. I think they really did a great job.
And they kind of captured the Eiffel Tower and some image of travel in Paris.
Rod, are you going to bring a copy over to for the dedicated local authors over here at the New Upton Library?
I will do that.
Right up this. You've been to the New Upton Center? Have you been? Oh,
No,
my
I've
God.
seen it. I've seen it from the road.
Oh, it is. It still smells.
Looks beautiful.
Go in and it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quiet downstairs now. You don't
Right.
see it. So it's just the Historical Society and us
Oh.
here in this building.
Oh, okay.
And I guess it's still up in the air what they'll do with this building.
Right.
But every town has to have a cable station. Well, they need a cable station,
Right.
obviously.
Right.
And you know yourself that every guest gets the link to your YouTube, to your interview.
Yeah.
And you use that any way you want. Have you got another book coming up?
Maybe. I'm always thinking what might be next.
You wrote an excellent one about, what was his name? Ross Rajat.
It was one of my first books.
Remember when the beach at Whitensville was still going?
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember seeing him and talking with him one day.
Oh, yeah.
He liked to swim.
He did. And he tried to get a community beach going in Rockdale where he lived, but
Yeah.
then he ended up supporting the one they created at Meadow Pond.
I remember his house off of 122 in
Yep.
Northbridge,
Yep.
Rockdale.
Yep.
Is his wife still there?
I think she's deceased also.
She?
Yeah.
Okay, I used to go by that
His
house.
son was living there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you ever know, the family, the couple that, Al Holman. Did you know Al?
Of course I knew Al in Maryland.
Yeah, and they both are passed now.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Al maybe a year ago.
Wow, I did
And,
not know that. Nice people.
Yeah. And then Marilyn passed this year.
Oh.
Yes.
We used to get together for coffee.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he ran, what was it, the Upton Town, the Mendon.
Upton Town Crier.
And I think it's still going now, but it's...
I heard that.
It's different. It's a
Right.
little different. That's okay. Change is good. Sometimes
Change
fun.
is good, yeah.
Thank you for being with us. I'm
Thank
sure
you,
you'll be
Jan.
with us again.
Okay, thanks very much.
All right. We'll see you next time and be my guest.
Riding on a shooting star, heading out toward a dream. Tomorrow's even closer than it seems.